Hi, I'm Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton, and I represent Virginia's 10th District in the U.S. House of Representatives. We can never repay the debt we owe to those who have served our country in uniform, but we do have a responsibility to care for our veterans and their families when they return home. I'm proud to offer this video series of conversations between my office's Military and Veterans Liaison, Anthony Barnes, and veterans service organizations in our community to help Virginia 10 veterans get connected to resources that can get them that support that they need. I hope you enjoy these conversations and find them informative. And remember, my office is here to help however we can. Visit wexton.house.gov/contact to get in touch with us. Thanks so much.
Good afternoon and welcome to our ongoing series of interviews with veteran service organizations for Congresswoman Jennifer Wexton's office in Virginia's 10th District. I'm Anthony Barnes, the Military and Veteran Manager for Congresswoman Wexton. And I'm so thankful to be joined today by Larry Ziliox, the Director of Culinary Services for the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run and Serve Our Willing Warriors. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
And your organization is fantastic. I think it's something that a lot of us in the veteran community in our space are very familiar with. But for those of us who aren't, can you give us a little background into Serve Our Willing Warriors and the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run?
Sure. So Serve Our Willing Warriors is a local Haymarket-based nonprofit, and our primary mission is to support the Warrior Retreat at Bull Run. And the retreat is a $3.5 million, 37-acre estate with 2 5-bedroom homes on it. And we use those homes to invite wounded warriors and their families out from Walter Reed at Fort Belvoir to spend 5 nights out of the hospital and rehab environment. So they come out here at no cost. While they're here, we have plenty of activities for them to do, off-site activities and on-site activities. Really, their only cost is food. They bring their own food and make their own meals. The whole purpose of the retreat, it's geared towards the family and to have the family and the warriors bond. Now, each of these houses are 5 bedrooms, and we can have up to 10. Oh, there's our founder, Shirley.
I don't. I just had to steal this. I'm so hungry.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good one.
So each of the houses are 5 bedrooms, and we encourage the warriors to fill it up. Mom, dad, aunt, and uncle, grandma, grandpa, battle buddies, best friends, whoever they can invite to make their stay more impactful. So as a nonprofit, Shirley and her husband, Shirley's a retired Air Force lieutenant colonel, and her husband, John, founded Serve Our Willing Warriors. They go to Park Valley Church nearby. And back in 2006, their pastor challenged them to go out in the community and find something good to do, but they couldn't write a check. They actually had to give back in some way. And they took their 3 young daughters and went to Walter Reed with some gifts and some pizzas. And they got cleaned out in about half an hour and realized that there was quite a need there. So they started to go back more and more with other folks from church. And that became an annual event. They would go in the summer for a barbecue, and they'd go in the winter for a holiday party. On about 2011, they met a warrior who said, what we really need is a place where we can get away from all the hassle and the appointments and everything here at the hospital. And Shirley took that as a mission, and she found this property pretty close to where they live. Her and John incorporated Willing Warriors as a nonprofit, owned the organization, several $100,000 to get up and running, to make payments on the mortgage. And we purchased the property for $875,000. Now, the original house that we're in right now, this is the Lang House, was built in 1977-78. So it had not been remodeled and required an extensive redo for sure. It looked like a house that had been built in 77, 78 with the shag carpet and the weird wood walls, and it was in bad shape. And so We asked the community to help us remodel it. They stepped up and put about $1.4 million into completely remodeling the house. So everything that we have has been donated. That was really took 2 years because it was all volunteer at that point. Even the tradesmen that came and worked in the house were volunteers as well. We had quite a strong participation from companies and tradesmen here in the area. We got it remodeled and furnished. And then in 2015, we had our ribbon cutting on July 4th. And then we had our first families from the hospital come in on Veterans Day of 2015. And so we've had over 1,600 warriors and family members, friends stay here on the property. In 2019, we received a $300,000 donation from Penn Fed Foundation to help build a second house on the property right next door. And this house that we're in here, the Lang House, is 11,000 square feet. We use 2,000 for offices and conference, but the Warriors have 9,000 square feet, which is quite a big house for them. The Penn Fed House, which we built in 2019, is about 4,800 square feet. It's still 5 bedrooms, but it allowed us to double our capacity. So we typically have guests stay from Friday through Wednesday. On Wednesday, they'll check out in the morning. We'll brief them out, and then we'll have volunteers come in, clean, sanitize, stage the retreat, and we'll do 3 guest stays in a row and then take a week off for maintenance and just to kind of regroup. So we do 37 guest stays in each house a year. And so we were hit hard by COVID. I know we had talked about it briefly the other day. But a lot of our volunteers are retired, and a lot of them are veterans. We have probably of our core volunteers, about 48% are veterans. So we have some colonels that are out mowing the lawn or doing maintenance around here. So our enlisted guests really like that. We have a great team. We rely on volunteers. We only have a small staff of 6. Our executive director is a full-time employee. Then the rest of us are part-time employees who work full-time and then some. So in addition to our part-time job, we all qualify for Presidential Service Awards because of the extra time we put in.
You know, Larry, I was going to say you're the hardest working part-time employee I've ever seen in my entire life.
Yeah.
In any position.
Yeah. Well, we get more out of it than we give, for sure. I have the best job in the world. When we started remodeling this house here, the Lang House, I was new to the organization. I've been here about 9 years now. In most of it in guest services. But the house was completely gutted, and I came and toured, and it was like they were looking for people to do drywall and to paint and do things like that. And I don't have those skills. I said, look, I've got a food blog that nobody reads. I know some chefs. How about a visiting chef program? And they said, well, sure. And so I had the really tough job for a couple of years. My wife and I had to go and eat at all the finest restaurants in the area so that we could convince the chefs to come and join us. And so today we have 89 chefs that rotate through. I have a mailing list of 89 local chefs. I have chefs that are military chefs, catering chefs, personal chefs, restaurant chefs. My military chefs are every major agency and from the Joint Chiefs of Staff on down. And that's just for this house on Sunday night. Visiting chef night, the chef comes and prepares an amazing meal. It's a great program because it allows the chefs to give back doing the thing that they love most. But also, so many of our guests are younger soldiers, and they can't afford to go to these restaurants. and spend $250, $300 for a meal for two. So we bring that 5-star culinary experience to them here at the retreat. And for almost all of them, it's the best meal that they've ever had. The other issue is that they almost all suffer from post-traumatic stress. And when you have PTS and you're hypervigilant, going to a restaurant is not fun like it is for everybody else. There's too much noise. There's too much commotion. We can control all that and have them have that dining experience in a very safe environment, and it's enjoyable for everyone. In the new house, the Penn Fed House, visiting chef night is Saturday, and all of those dinners are handled by military chefs from Presidential Food Service at the White House.
Wow.
So that is also when we're out in the community talking to soldiers at Walter Reed or Fort Belvoir, it's pretty amazing to be able to say, well, you know, Sergeant, you can come out and you can stay at this $3.5 million property, invite your friends, and it's not going to cost you anything. And oh, by the way, while you're there, I'm going to have the chefs for the Commandant of the Marine Corps or the chefs from the chairman's office or Presidential Food Service. They're going to come out and make you dinner because you deserve it. And so it's quite a morale booster to have that. And then also we do a lot of pictures for them, get them the pictures with the chefs. And a lot of times we have the family join in and help and try to teach them some farm to table approach to better eating. You know, a lot of these young families, they live at Walter Reed or Fort Belvoir. They are running around. They're doing 4 or 5 medical appointments a day. They're homeschooling the kids in the car or the doctor's office. They're eating at ramen noodles or Chick-fil-A or someplace almost most of their meals. So it's very important for us to teach them that it doesn't take much to make good food. And we have a wonderful garden here. It's a huge garden. It's maintained by volunteers. We also we learned early on. We thought if you build it, they will come. And when it came to warriors, we didn't know there was a battalion of lawyers standing between us and them. We've sort of figured that out now. And the same thing was with the garden. We thought, oh, you got a garden. That's great. We would tell the families, just go out and pick whatever you want. But we've learned that if it doesn't look like what it looks like in Giant, they don't know what it is. So some grew up on a farm or had a garden, but most of them, they don't have a clue. So we had to harvest stuff and put it in there. We also have a wonderful veteran who's a farmer in Nokesville and donates cows to us. So he will have one of his cows processed and vacuum sealed and frozen. And his last delivery, it's up in the freezer in the garage, was 660 pounds of beef. And his words to me was, you'll have beef as long as I'm alive. So it's that kind of commitment that allows us to do this, you know, without the
community effort.
It is. It's truly a community effort. We have Mosquito Joe sprays for ticks and mosquitoes. We have a company that washes the garbage cans. We are probably the number one private property in the country that's had the most Eagle Scout projects. We're at 53 Eagle Scout projects right now since we opened. So we have that. We have the property maintained by volunteers. It's just such a huge commitment. We couldn't do it without the community financially, volunteer-wise. We're fortunate here that it's sort of the perfect storm for this to happen here because, one, we're close to hospitals, Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir, and a ready source of soldiers to come and stay with us. 2 is we're in Prince William County, one of the wealthiest counties in the country, next to the wealthiest county in the country. You look at Loudoun and then Fairfax. So financially, we have good support. And then volunteer-wise, we have a large veteran community here in Northern Virginia, and so we have some great volunteers that will do just about anything we need. And it takes a lot of volunteers to do this. What we didn't understand was everything takes man hours. So we will distribute probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 to 2,000 cards that we get from school children to the families here at the retreat and at the hospitals. But it takes about 13 man hours a year to go through those cards because some of them are just not appropriate. So, you wouldn't even think about that. You say, oh, it's a card. That's great. But, it can't have somebody holding up the head of the enemy. And we don't want to give that kind of thing to soldiers who are recovering from TBI and PTS. So everything takes man hours to do. It's great that family checks in on Friday. They check out on Wednesday. In addition to just being here, we have every family gets a professional photography shoot. So we have photographers from the community that come in and they do a family photo shoot. There, the idea is to give the family some good memories of their time here. So everything we do at the Warrior Retreat is geared towards convincing the warrior that their family is not better off without them. So we get warriors who have been in treatment for more than a year. Their family is with them and maybe living in very small, close quarters. The wife or husband has quit their job. The kids are homeschooled. It's a struggle. And it's a real struggle. And they somehow get this crazy idea that if they just took their own life, then the family could go home and be normal again. And everything we do is geared towards demonstrating to them that that's just not true. So the meals are all cooked by the family. We have fire pits on property, 4 of them, 1 behind each house. We have some more kits that are donated to us to get the family out around the fire pit. There are no games hooked to the TV. We don't want the family coming and plopping down in front of the TV for 5 days. All of our on-site and off-site activity are family oriented. So they get a guest stay coordinator that arranges their stay, creates an itinerary, and then when they pick certain activities, that guest stay coordinator works with the vendor to set up when they're going to go, set up the appointment for the photographer. Our top 3 activities are a helicopter ride out of Manassas Airport, a shooting experience with an original SEAL Team 6 member, and a tour of an antique automobile restoration facility in White Post, Virginia. But we also have horseback riding, therapeutic horse, working with therapeutic horses, abused horses. We have Bonnie's private pool. One of our neighbors lets the families come in over and swim whenever they want. So there's plenty for them to do. Massage therapy, art therapy, fishing. We have our own staff fishing guide who will take the family out fly fishing. So whatever they want to do while they're here, we pretty much can make it happen.
That's amazing. And I think that's what's so inspiring about it is the family orientation there is just incredible. It truly brings folks together. And I've been, I've had the honor of witnessing a few of those families at the property and actually serving one of those families through Agape Love in Action with Corliss Udwana. And it was just truly inspiring to see that type of commitment by the staff and the way that it translated into something that, like you said, they're not going to get it at Walter Reed or Fort Belvoir, and not for lack of trying. It's just not a place that type of stuff can occur. So you alluded to it, and you mentioned you got lots of volunteers, but you can never have too many. And in a district where we've got 55,000+ veterans, give or take, You've got plenty of veteran assistance, but how can the community at large, how can VA 10 help you all?
Well, we have a number of fundraising activities throughout the year. So it starts in the spring where we have a number of motorcycle poker runs. We have a Corvette show on the property midsummer. We have a bike ride, like bicycle bike ride. This year it was September 11th. So that's usually in September. We have a gala. We have a gala coming up November 6th at Lansdowne Resort. We do, I think, have a few tickets left, not many, but if anybody's interested in going to that, they can go to our webpage and they can sign up there. It's going to be fun. Our guest speaker is going to be Matt Eversman, who was a sergeant involved in Black Hawk Down. I think his character was played by Josh Harnett. So he just finished writing a book recently with James Patterson called Walk in My Combat Boots, I believe. So it's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a lot going on. We'll have auction and things like that. Those are great ways to support us. If you do go to our webpage, at the very bottom of the webpage, you can sign up for our newsletter. And that goes out once a month. And that tells you all the activities that are going on at the retreat and any upcoming activities and events. So starting in March, we tend to have a service day here on the property on our off week on Saturdays, usually from 9 to noon. So that's a way that families come out and they can help with the landscaping in the property. And we've got from littlest little kids that come out and pick up sticks to we've got folks coming out with chainsaws. And we're really lucky. I'm sure you're familiar with Team Rubicon. Yeah. So they come out and train their people on chainsaw use. So they take care of all of our trees and to learn how to use chainsaws safely. So that's a win-win for both of us. Yeah. But yeah, we just have such a strong community support, and it all, like, we're the same as every other nonprofit. We got hit hard by COVID. When I talked about guest stay coordinators, probably the best volunteer position that we have, because you interact directly with the family and you get to see the results. But it's the hardest job. You're working with the family, you're doing the itinerary, you're on call, essentially. You're checking in every night to see how their stay is going. When they can't work the TV, you're the one they're calling. It's too hot, it's too cold. So it's a great job. It's a great volunteer job. And prior to COVID, we had probably 13 guest stay coordinators. When COVID hit, we were down to 3.
Wow.
And we still have not built that up. We're probably at 5 or 6 right now. So now the number of stays dropped off as well. So we were not getting warriors from the commands. That was for 3 months. We really were closed down. But the stays are starting to pick up. When we built the retreat, I mentioned before, we thought that if you build it, they will come. And we didn't realize that soldiers are government employees, and they can only receive a financial benefit from an individual or organization of a certain dollar amount. I think it's $25 a year. And our stays are worth more than that, even on a very, if you look at like a bed and breakfast, it's still, hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth. So there was a lot of pushback from the legal people about being able to come and stay. Now, the exception to that rule is what's called a we soldier. So a DOD regulations identify we soldiers as those soldiers that are wounded, ill, or injured in a combat theater or training to go to a combat theater. And for those we soldiers, the sky's the limit. So as long as someone is identified as a we soldier, DOD regulations allow them to come here, and it's not an issue. When we first opened in 2015, we had a number of ongoing conflicts around the world, and about 38 to 40% of the soldiers assigned to the soldier recovery units at Walter Reed and Fort Belvoir were designated we soldiers. Wow. Today, it's very few, because we've deconflicted around the world, which is a great thing, but it's been hard for us to identify those we soldiers and have them come out. So the best explanation I can give you for this is that if you had two sergeants stationed in California, and one was deployed to Afghanistan and one stayed at their base in California, on the same day, they were both diagnosed with cancer, and then they were both sent to Walter Reed because it's the center of excellence for cancer treatment because of its proximity to NIH. But they both get to Walter Reed. Only the one who was diagnosed in Afghanistan could come stay with us.
Okay.
So that was an issue that has not really been resolved. Now, what we've found is with COVID and with the warriors not being able to go out into the community and being very restricted, and most of them staying in Building 62 or the barracks down at Fort Belvoir, it really has increased some mental health issues that, as long as doctors are willing to say they need to come, it seems as though the lawyers are kind of loosened the grip on everything, and we're starting to see more and more warriors come towards us, which is great because they need to come. Sure. They really do, and the families need to come more than anything, because those are the hidden heroes, those kids and the caregiver, and we're here for all of them. We want this day to be impactful. Now, since we only have 37 guest days a year in each house, we say, if you want a vacation, go to Great Wolf Lodge. If you want to come to some place where the community has put millions of dollars into the facility, the staff and volunteers just love you, then we want you to come here and have an impactful stay. And we have some great reservations team that will invite some veteran families to come, but they undergo a good amount of questioning from these wonderful ladies, the sweetest ladies in the world. I call them the Iron Maidens, because they know warriors and they know when a warrior needs to come and when a veteran or somebody might be looking for just a vacation. So they're really good at their job, and we're thankful for that. But it's been rough. Like for every other organization, it's the same thing. Our volunteer corps dropped off mostly. We had to switch to a paid cleaning service instead of using volunteers. They were almost all retired, and most of those dropped away. So we have built that back up, but sort of switched them into the role of what we call staging. So when the family is okayed to come by the command, they fill out a 12-page questionnaire that lets us know who's coming, what their relationships are. You know, if Uncle Bill is coming, is he a veteran? We want to honor them as well. You know, the ages, if they're young kids, when do they take naps? It's real important when the guest stay coordinator is arranging the schedule to know all this. And there's 2 pages of food questions for the chef. And then we get that application and we figure out which house they're going to go in. And then they get assigned the guest stay coordinator, and they come and they have a great time. And it's just, we're just very fortunate that the community has entrusted us with this role, and we take it very seriously. We understand that the community is really the one giving back to the warrior. It's not us personally.
Well, I can tell you, personally, I've gotten to see it firsthand. I've gotten to see the experience. I've heard the testimonies. I've been fortunate enough to visit the retreat a number of times. And the work you guys do there is just absolutely outstanding. And I'm thrilled to be able to offer you a platform to engage our community in our district, because we do support our veterans enthusiastically here in the district, as you know, and being a part of the district, of course, right on the edge there, Haymarket. But I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me today, Larry. Is there any parting words you'd like to offer, or any last reminders?
No, just thank you for this opportunity. And, we're here. You can reach out to us, call us, send us an email through the webpage if you want to volunteer. We're not going away. We're going to keep at this mission, and we're going to be here for a long time. And we thank you. Thanks to the entire community for helping us do this.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks to Mr. and Mrs. Dominic. We appreciate it. Anything we can do, please don't hesitate. And with that, we'll let you go, Larry. Just a reminder, if there's any assistance that we can provide a veteran here at our office, please don't hesitate to reach out to me, Anthony Barnes. Reach us in our district offices. And my email is anthony.barnes@mail.house.gov. So until next time.